r/AskReddit by Redmond Dts. Men of Reddit. What's the creepiest thing a woman has ever said to you? I bartended at a small dive bar years ago. It was late one night, and I had a lone female guest. She was probably middle-aged, polite and short while ordering her drink. I thought nothing strange or got no red flags, so I continued my closing duty, sweeping around the tables in particular, not behind the bar. I'm focused on cleaning and getting out of there, and I turn around to dump dustpan, and she's standing right behind me staring me dead in the eye. "Will you dance with me?" she asks in a slow, nervous manner. For the record, there is no music playing, and we're the only two living creatures in the building. I tell politely that I'm closing and cannot right now, and quickly put distance and walk behind the bar. In the 5 seconds I have to walk through the kitchen, this guest has walked back to her still and begun hysterically crying at the top of her lungs. She asks me if I think she's ugly, fat, unattractive, a whore, and several more derogatory things which I deny and deflect. She screams and tells me she hates me and runs out of the bar. I ring the beer she drank half of up as a waste and lock the door. I continued to work there for 7 more years, and never saw this guest again. Did some mushrooms when I was like 18 or so. Sat in the town center and the local crazy lady asked me, "So how long have you been dead?" Messed my whole day up, man. I just wanted to see if you'd stay. Now, the reason this was freaking crazy is because preceding that I got a text from her saying she may be missed a period. I said something like, "Oh okay, so what if you're pregnant?" She volunteered an abortion. Cool, good one. I don't have to worry about raising a kid at 16. Keep in mind we weren't even sure yet that she was pregnant. So then suddenly she texts me saying maybe she changed her mind and she would want to keep it if she were pregnant. So I, reasonably, asked what changed. She says she just might want to keep the kid if she's pregnant and I keep sort of driving after it. Okay, but what's different between now and an hour or two ago when you brought up an abortion? She accuses me of pressuring her, calls me an asshole, and stops responding to my texts. A day or two later she tells me she wasn't ever even pregnant in the first place and see the quote above. That's why she said she went through all that shit, and I guess her not knowing the kind of person I am made that okay for her to do. God, I wish it had ended there. A girl once told me that she was jealous of her friend because she got raped and got a cute baby out of it. I don't think I ever felt less comfortable. She said my dead brother was talking to her. Drunk woman with an older lady nearby sat down next to me on a bench and looked at me. "I'll screw you if you can beat up my mom over there." I hate to tell you this, but Elle had to have an abortion, and it was yours. We never did more than kiss. I mean, I'm a pretty solid kisser but not that good. I stopped seeing this girl because she got a little stalkerish, and one day after getting home from walking my dog Betsy, I got a text from her saying, "Betsy got so big." Proceeded to shut my blinds and deadbolt the front door. Back in college I was at a study group and I found myself talking to this girl. Just talking about class and eventually just talking about random other stuff like life at school and favorite places to eat nearby. Then after a moment of silence she tells me that she wants to see me fight off a group of guys trying to attack her and she'd hold me while I was beaten up and bleeding on the floor. I mean, just randomly dropping that on someone when a minute ago we were talking about best places to get cheap food is a bit much. Edit. For the dozens of people asking. I just kinda brushed it off and awkwardly tried to turn the conversation to something not about me getting violently beat up. Also, I'd maybe talked to her a handful of times and always in class, and this was the first out of classroom conversation I'd had with her. I worked at a fast food place years ago. My girlfriend came in for a milkshake and was waiting at the end of the counter with one of our regulars. Doris, the regular, was near 90 years old and had invited me home to have pot roast at her house multiple times. I was being a pain and put about a foot of whipped cream over the top of the lid of my girlfriend's milkshake and brought it to her. Doris looked at her, then looked at me deadpan and said, "I wish you'd cream me like that." Doris never ordered desserts. Do you want to stick it in my sticky kitty? I was still a virgin and this question did not convince me to stick it anywhere for a while. A complete and total stranger walked over to me and said, "I need you to rearrange my guts with your dong." She pointed at the men's bathroom and then walked over and into it. While I left. This woman had 20 years at least on everyone in that place, and the best way for me to describe how she looked is to say half-crushed beer can. I want to have your ADHD infested children. Are you ADHD infested? I have tested positive. She told me she would rather kill me and then herself than see me with someone else. Called me at work and said, "You don't know me, but I know you." Some woman asked me to stick my tongue out and then said, "You gonna make someone really happy with that big tongue of yours." I was 9. I'm, like, really submissive. Like, I let a guy crap in my mouth once, and I didn't even like him that much. For context, it was our second and last date. I worked at a caviar bar in San Francisco and it was basically cougar bait. One time this relatively older lady said, "You look just like my son. You should come home with me. B should not follow from A." I was sleeping with a woman in her 40s in my mid-20s. One day after sex she looked me deeply in the eye and said, "Wow. You really remind me of my son." With a big smile on her face and leaned in for a kiss. It was our last date. Will you sleep with me if I drug and stab you? It'll be fun. I was waiting for my bus at 6 AM. You look like a Greek god. I love to just look at you. My 30-something English teacher, to me, a 14-year-old boy while no one else could hear her. Edit. Well, this blew up. To clarify, she later got fired for hooking up with several guys from the higher grades. And to those asking if she was hot, who cares? It was a sexual shouting of a teacher to a minor. When I see these comments when the gender roles are reversed, I never see the question, but was he hot? A woman I matched with on Tinder told me that she likes to kill animals, and then asked to meet me in the middle of the woods. I figured that might be a red flag, so unmatched, and never went back to Tinder. When I was younger I worked in a bar popular with 18-20-year-olds. One night as a group of girls was leaving I made eye contact with one of them. That was enough. She came stumbling up to the bar and said, "I have to show you the background on my phone." She put her phone on the bar and the background was a picture of me. I took it about 3 weeks ago. I'm totally obsessed. Your photo is the last thing I see before I go to sleep and the first thing I see when I wake up. I enjoyed having sex with your penis last night. She was German and she said it like how the Terminator speaks. Hang on. Let me try something.
I enjoyed having sex with your penis last night.
Slept with a girl once. 3 days later in a crowded car with our friends, she turned and stared at me for a few seconds and said, "We should get married." I did the only responsible thing I could do and kept sleeping with her until she lost interest and moved on to another. Edit for clarification. We didn't have sex in the car. I wanna have your babies. It was the first time we met and it was at our job. I want to have sex with you. And I want my husband to come in the room to catch us having sex and you ending up fighting him. Incest is the best. Put your cousin to the test. My cousin started to shout, "I'm so evil," and laughing evilly while I was eating her out. Went on 3 dates and I tried to end it. And she grabbed a knife and a bottle of pills and said, "We're gonna have some fun." Then she put the knife up to her neck and said, "Watch as it goes through the skin." While having sex, ex-wife would sometimes say, "Rape me daddy." She was molested by her stepfather growing up. Just casually having pizza after work and she says, "I don't even care where the sperm comes from. I want a baby as soon as possible." After being taken aback, I tried to search for some boundaries and she even said, "I have been going to clubs to hook up with guys hoping that they get me pregnant." She even admitted to taking condoms off guys during the act. Safe to say after work pizza didn't happen again with her. Rubber up lads. That's all folks. Thank you for watching. If you like videos like this one, why not like and subscribe for more? Have a nice evening.